The Running Man. I've never seen this movie before. And of course, I'm reviewing this because there's a remake coming out, directed by Edgar Wright, who I recently reviewed all of his movies. Only one I didn't recently review, you can still find it, I believe, on this channel. Might be on my second channel. Look around for it. Is Scott Pilgrim. And the reason I didn't review Scott Pilgrim again is because, well, I already did a video on it. And it's so overly talked about that I feel like I had nothing to offer with that review. So I just went with the Cornetto trilogy and a couple other ones. So, The Running Man is an interesting movie because this is a Stephen King book, and a lot of people, especially at the time, did not know this was a Stephen King book. The weird thing about Stephen King is he wrote a lot of books that are very famous, of course, like horror books. But then he also wrote a bunch of other books that were not horror books, and he couldn't sell them with his name. So he literally had to come up with a fake name. I forget what it is, but like books like The Running Man, and Long Walk, and some of these other movies are coming out now about his books. Even Shawshank and Green Mile. We showed Shawshank at work back in theaters. And there are people who came in who had seen that movie multiple times, had no clue it was a Stephen King movie. No clue. Think about how old that movie is and people don't know. The nice thing, though, is now we're getting a lot of reprints of Stephen King books. And a lot of those reprints of Stephen King books are actually giving him his name on it. Because he's understanding how kind of dumb that was to not do that. And it was good for the time just because, like, there were literally people who would buy his books, see the title, get pissed off it wasn't horror, and be enraged because they want a horror book. Shows how good of a horror writer he was, but also literally left them not understand how great of a actual writer he is, because he really wrote some incredible stuff. But this movie is not great. This is like not one of Schwarzenegger's best 80s movies. Or this was 80s or was it 90s? So, 1987. So, I don't know. I just kind of, I've not been crazy about this movie. Watching this for the first time because this movie felt like a Total Recall knockoff. It's not a Total Recall complete knockoff, but it did feel like a lot of knockoffs of things Schwarzenegger was kind of doing at the time. And then it's like, it's a movie that you really see the potential for them remaking now because this is a movie that is all about like this reality game show to the death. And we see that a lot in modern reality shows. We see a lot of that stuff, but back when this movie came out in the 80s, of course, that wasn't really a thing. And so, I don't know, but it's very like the music, the vibe of it. It's, it's got, I guess it's got its own unique style to it to some degree, but like overall, this is like a Schwarzenegger movie you watch a couple times and not really that often because I guess there's some fun moments to it, but there are way better Schwarzenegger movies than this one. And I think this is a movie that except for the people who grew up and really loved this one, this is not one I hear people really talk about very fondly. And if they do talk about this movie, it's, hey, the book is a lot better. And I kind of agree. It's a much stronger book that captures what Stephen King was actually trying to do with this, where this movie doesn't. A lot of Stephen King movies miss the mark, but I think this is one of the worst examples. Maybe not the worst, but it does seem like, man, there's a lot of screw-ups here. So, I don't know. Running Man, not a great movie. Let me know your thoughts.